Hello, my friend. This is Dr. Samuel Kisiedu speaking in Virginia. Let's talk about marriage. I want us to talk about some important facts about marriage that we overlook. And I think when we understand these facts, that will enable us to be able to run things well and enjoy what God has given us to enjoy. I'm the founder and president of Fruitful Ministries International Incorporated. It's an evangelistic and teaching Christian ministry. We work with churches and organizations and schools and communities, workplaces, and everybody. We are an enrichment organization. We help to enrich and strengthen churches and homes, marriages, family, objective of evangelism, and then we disciple them, and then we pray, and then leadership training, and then we do all these biblical teaching by the home, marriage, family, life, courtships, relationships. We are very heavy on that. So work with us and contact us. The first thing I want to mention about marriage and family is that marriage is an institution. And an institution must have a head. So there must be a head. You can't have an institution running wild without someone heading and running and helping to organize things well. That is why the man, by God's appointment, is the head. You see, for order, not boss, not to rule and control and dominate. No, not at all. Any man who thinks being head of the wife is being boss, you are totally wrong. And you're leader of the family, as well as head of the family. Okay? So it is a setup with components, and there must be order. So there must be a leader, and God has ordained the man as the head. It is privilege and a responsibility. Please note that. Second point. Marriage is the first of God's main institutions for humans on earth. There is no other major institution set up more respected, more revered, and more prominent than marriage. Even when God compares our relationship with Him, Christ, He says Christ and the church, marriage. So it is God's first major institution for mankind, and we must take it very, very serious. Don't go in with selfishness and isolation and self-centeredness to make it yours. So you are in the marriage, but you are so selfish and so self-centered. You are wrong. You must relate well to your spouse and to the children and to other people connected with the family, which are the in-laws and the rest of them, okay? The third point is that marriage began between an adult male and an adult female. You see, marriage is not for boys and girls, it's for men and women. And let me also mention that fellowship started between an adult male and God. So men are leaders of fellowship. When they don't fellowship well and give a bad example, they confuse the rest of us. Okay? Fellowship started between adult male and God. Then God brought a woman. So a man who doesn't have a good relationship with God cannot get a very good woman to work with, because you haven't been equipped by God to handle a good person brought to you by God. So when you are training the children, train them to go and handle somebody one day. You see, most good parents train the children for themselves. After the bad ones, let's not talk about that. But even what we call good parents, they don't send their children's mind to the future and direct them, for them, their minds to go beyond the immediate. And it can be a problem when suddenly they are confronted with the unfamiliar, and their minds were not trained to know you're going to leave mom and dad or whoever you are living with your guardian one day. The fourth point is that fellowship among humans started between an adult male and adult female. So the adults are leaders in fellowship so far as humans are concerned. So when the adults don't fellowship properly, they confuse the little ones. Okay? They confuse them. That is why good parenting begins with the relationship between the mom and the dad. The kids watch you. And they see, they feel, they sense. They know what's going on. Sometimes, even when you think they don't, they do. You see? So when good parenting is there between the man and it starts with the man and the woman discussing the kids, being examples to them, loving each other, then it encourages the young ones to also relate to each other. The fifth point, home came first before marriage. Adam was put in a garden in Genesis and chapter 2. Okay? Before marriage came in Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. Okay? There was a home in a garden all the way Genesis chapter 2, verse 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The garden represents work you can do in your home. If a man is going to marry for the marriage to be successful, either you are working and we can see it, or there are concrete plans to work without assumptions and ordering one vehicle and selling it in a year and telling me you are doing car business. Having some shop you are busy running, but it's for your dad or your uncle or family business. Do you have a share in it? There must be something concrete. If the man, has plans very well and is not working, but the woman is working and they have plans, they know what to do. But most of the time, if you do that, it's very dangerous because when the woman brings money home and the marriage begins and the man becomes happy, he can be lazy or deceitful and will just be using the woman all the way through. And for the women, once children come in, it kind of binds them and they are compelled to sacrifice and the man fools them and takes advantage. Okay? So let's watch that. Your home first. If you haven't learned how to make a home, be careful how you run into marriage. You don't marry and stay on the streets. You go home. 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 Your home. When God finally came down to us, he wanted to marry at home, not in church even. The sixth point, marriage is a covenant relationship between one man and one woman. Any deviation from it is not from God. In some cases, it's purely satanic. Sometimes it's human error, our own carnality. Then the devil takes advantage. Not everything is demonic. Some is us, it's you. And rather you bring the devil to take advantage of what you are doing as a human being, which is not right. Covenant, we use words and vows to make covenant. That is why we bless marriage. If you don't have a Bible verse to show why marriage is blessed, Genesis 1:28, God blessed them. Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, God blessed them. Okay? So it's a covenant. You don't break covenant. Contract you can break, not covenant. That is why the ring. See, the ring which is given has no beginning or end. Okay? And something which cannot tarnish. Gold. Okay? It also helps to identify you that somebody's in your life in a committed relationship. So hands off the advantages of having a ring. But then anytime you put it on, you remember your covenant. You remember your covenant with God and with the person. The seventh point is that it is the only model of the real church on earth. In 1 Timothy chapter 5, verses 1 and 2, in 1 Timothy 5, 1 and 2, we are told how to run church. An adult man treat as a father, and a young man treat as a brother. Now the mothers who give birth to the human beings The older women treat as mother, and the young girls as sisters. Then they added with all purity. Sisters with all purity. Think pure thoughts. Be careful how you use your hands in parts of a woman who is not your spouse yet. Okay? And words you use and how you violate them. Do it in holiness. See, even when you're interacting, be careful that one doesn't go away from your presence with very impure mind. So marriage is a very serious institution, and it is the only model you can look at so far as the relationship between Christians and Jesus Christ is concerned. You can't go beyond that example. So it's a very serious thing. Okay. Number 8. A man is supposed to leave father and mother and cleave, bond to a woman in Genesis 2:24. Which means before a man marries, supposed to have a good relationship with mom and dad. They may be dead, but the concept is there. Okay? So you have to leave. Don't stay in a family house. You may have a plan for a few months and move to your place. You're not saying it's wrong. It depends on how you plan it. You may live with an uncle, a friend, or a benefactor, or somebody. But make sure you live on your own and bond together. There are some who marry the woman and bring the woman like property to his family, doing chores and running up and down. And some actually bring the woman to the family house. It's not a property. You see, it's the same way we try to buy the woman with gifts. If you are not performing your duties or responsibilities, you are not being nice and kind, you are abusive, you come buy. See, with gifts. The person may not even appreciate some of them because he doesn't need some of them. Okay? There are issues to be solved. Let's solve them and stop trying to buy each other with things. Okay? The next one, number 9. If you take the 10 commandments, the first time God gave a set of commandments to mankind in Exodus 20, the 10 commandments, family is in the middle of it. First 4 commandments to God, relationship with God. Then you go to number 5 and said, honor your father and mother. Put family right in the middle of the 10 commandments. So any instructions, any guidance, whatever it is, and God is not in the center of your parenting, your teaching, your instructing, your discipleship, you're not being like God. Okay, that's how important it is. Make your marriage the center of your life after God. God first, your marriage second, before ministry, work, and all other things come. Okay. The 10th point is that marriage was instituted in the state of holiness and innocence of man. That's why they were not ashamed. See, so there should be no shame in marriage. No shame. The shame of exposing ourselves if you are legally married, for your nakedness to be seen by your spouse, and you are shy, is not a good thing. And if you are hiding it, and sometimes some of the men are in a room, the woman has to knock and to come in and see. That is bad. That is bad. You see, either you have something to hide, or your mind is being played on by the enemy, or you have not understood marriage. And depending on the background training, so many factors come in there. But it's an institution that was established in holiness. God didn't originally intend that sinners should marry. That's a serious statement. So when sin came in, now sinners are marrying, and it is tough. You see? I've tried to look into the scripture to find out if there was any evidence of Adam trying to divorce Eve because of what happened. You talk about problems, ask Mr. and Mrs. Adam. But there was not a single trace that Adam wanted to divorce Eve, because God was fully in charge of the marriage at the beginning. Okay, things happen, you can get angry. It's very upset. A partner can disappoint you, make you mad, whatever it is. But to say, I won't marry you anymore, seriously, if Jesus is in charge and started well, and you keep fueling, putting the fuel into the fires of the romance and the relationship, it is very hard to say, I am throwing the whole person away. I'm discarding the institution. Okay. Number 11. Marriage is a sexual relationship. When you marry, you're going to have sex. So we must respect sex as something God created, as a wonderful thing for mankind, but only in marriage, where your spirits interact in a way that's mysterious. And God says you become one. We call it consummation. Okay? Now, sex is the deepest form of communication between two people. So marriage offers us the deepest communication, where the Bible says he went in unto her, because your spirit enters the person, the other person's spirit comes into you. It's supposed to create a good, strong soul tie. But we do it wrongly outside of marriage, and we got soul ties that are wrong, that are destructive. So just be careful of that. Okay? In holiness as best as you can, which in marriage is supposed to flourish in a state of holiness, purity, and righteousness. The 12th point. It is the only legal, marriage is the only legal and godly means for God's creation, that is human beings, to continue multiplying. In other words, is the only legal, godly, God-accepted means of having children. It's given to mankind, so you can do it wrongly and say get the children, and it is not God's will. Okay, so let us train ourselves to marry properly before we make a woman pregnant, or you become pregnant, because you're in a hurry to have children. That's not right. Okay. The next point, which is point number 13, marriage is rooted, based on, welded to, stands in love and commitment of human relations. In other words, love is the big root for marriage. And the idea of commitment to a relationship with a human being. You see, you must be committed. You are in my life, and we are doing things together. We are building mutuality, and we are not turning back. That is how it ought to be. Can't go around in circles, 100 miles an hour, not going nowhere. You're married 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, some more than 20, 25, 30, and a lot hasn't changed. See, some of us, all that we brought, does it. They are not learning from each other. They are not working on each other. They just shout at each other and talk at each other instead of talking to each other. You see? So they have not taken their time to plan things and work well for positive influence to be effected in the lives of both of them. But it's never too late, even if you have one more day to live. God knows what to do. The champion knows how to win. Okay. Number 14. Marriage gives us the best example of unity and sacrificial love. Talk of sacrificial love, love where you are sacrificing. Talk of unity, the highest you find in marriage. The people are united, body, soul, and spirit. One bed, one everything. When married people are hugging, how they feel and everything is not the same as brother, sister, friend, someone you're witnessing to, or even you're going to marry and all that. Unity, how to work, and how tough it is. Shows how tough it is for humans to also to agree. Because it is when we are together like this in a close relationship, supposed to share everything. That is why your real character is portrayed, and sometimes the picture is not pretty. Okay, so we need marriage, example of real love and commitment to another human being. Okay, best example of unity and sacrificial love That's number 14. Number 15. Marriage gives us parenting, and it trains humans for inheritance. Real inheritance is through marriage. A father leaves inheritance for children's children. Parents do train the children to be able to give to their children. So as you go into marriage, work very hard at the end, and you can tell when one of you is going to leave this world and leave you behind. You are working towards leaving some inheritance behind. You are supposed to leave a legacy. But legacies, often I say, is more of what you lived, L-I-V-E-D, than what you left, L-E-F-T. Sitting legacy is more of what you lived and what you leave, how your life was. You saw produce the building, the car, the money, and everything. If you didn't live well and you were lazy and started getting into booze, drink, all kinds of things and become lazy, you won't leave the inheritance. Okay? So marriage is good because it's making us leave something behind, including values, principles. See, the best way to go about living with people, forgiving and forgetting, admitting wrong, making time for another human being, and having real love, not just infatuation or lust. Love gives and forgives. Lust gets and forgets. Lust gets and forgets. Love gives and forgives. Okay? So that's number 15. Number 16. The man who was Adam was prepared. There are a number of things Adam had in his life before the coming of Eve. He even had gold in the garden. Genesis chapter 2, verse 11 and 12. It was a good gold. The gold wasn't in the garden, but around the garden. There's money in the bank of the earth. Eve, don't worry. You see. So God prepared Adam. A mist went up and was irrigating the place. He made sure there was a home, a garden. And when he made that garden, he made a fence, right? He took his pickaxe, his shovel, whatever he did, and then he demarcated a portion of the garden, a portion of the creation, and called it Garden of Eden. Success of life began with boundaries. Know what to do, what not to do as a married man or woman. Now that you are an adult, hold a position in church or in the nation or in the community or in the city. See, if you're holding that, you must know people hold you to accountability to a higher extent of discipline and obedience. You see, they hold you to a higher standard. So be very careful about that. So let God prepare you as a man. Prepare the young men in their homes. And those things that the guy needs, they have to be present, including the fear of God, which is the beginning of wisdom, beginning of knowing what to do. So most of the time we don't know what to do because we are not wise. And therefore difficult to connect with God. You see, you're not applying knowledge of what you have read and known. And sometimes you feel reading the Bible, he's rushing to work, it's like, oh, I'm okay, I'll read in the evening. And when he disagrees with the spouse, oh, read yours, I'll read mine. If you are doing that, you're in serious disobedience. You hearing me? God expects the man as spiritual leader to open the Bible before the wife. Look, when a man opens scriptures before a wife, heaven smiles. In case you're not aware. Make time for that. Okay? Number 17. A woman was specially made to bond to the man as a helper fit for the man. You have to share your vision with the woman. Explain things well. Let the woman know who you are so that I can help you. Go beyond the ordinary person. Hey, yeah, you brush your teeth in the morning, you eat breakfast. People eat lunch and they eat dinner. We know all that. Okay? So why do we marry then? You see, and they eat together, they laugh together, they do this, all that. Let it be genuine sharing of minds and hearts, souls and spirits and body and everything. Asking for opinions, asking for advice, agreeing, sensible compromises. I don't agree, but I give up a little bit. You do give up a little bit. You work it out, but not me always having someone says the short end of the stick. Every time you take the bigger portion, and I'm always the one feeling cheated. You don't want anything to go out. But then, as for you have the freedom to talk to others about what I did and things like that. And you're afraid I'll talk about you. So as for me, I don't want my things to go out. Who wants these things to go out? Nobody wants that. But you share as appropriate. Have a mentor you can talk to about issues, an accountability partner. Someone who will strengthen you of your age group. Okay, when things don't go right. So I want you to have a clear understanding of the meaning of marriage and family life. That is why I've given you these 17 things. And I trust that you have understood them and you're going to apply them and explain to people who are going to marry. Bring it in your counseling, these facts over here. So don't just go through some manual or something someone wrote somewhere without making them understand these things about marriage. You can call me in the United States on 1-917-741-0643. 1-917-741-0643. In Ghana, call 020-812-6533. 020-812-6533. Ghana code is 233, so 233-20-812-6533. The email is KISSEADOO@msn.com. KISSEADOO@msn.com. The website is www.fruitfulministriesint.com. Ministries is RIES. Okay? Fruit, F-R-U-I-T. www.fruitfulministriesint.com. The ministry is Fruitful Ministries International Incorporated. Remember, I have a broadcast on Joy 99.7 FM. Saturday mornings, 5:30 a.m. to 6 a.m. Every Saturday morning. Tune in. You can get it everywhere using myjoyonline.com and go to live radio. Go to Amazon.com and put in my name, Dr. Samuel Kisiedu, KISSEADOO. KISSEADOO. You get some Kindle versions of one or two of the books and some others. Okay, or go to Challenge bookstores in Ghana. Or call these numbers, the Ghana number or my number. I can mail some also to you. May the Lord bless you and strengthen you and guide you. And let us teach these young people in particular. We're going to leave our legacy to them to understand what marriage is, understand these important principles, and use them as foundation to expand, to know their differences, their needs, similarities and things. Because uniformity is not the same as unity. We try to be uniform, but we are not united in our hearts and our minds. Don't work mutuality together for us to be blessed by God who instituted it. May the Lord be with you. May the Lord guide you. May the Lord bless you. Thank you. This is Reverend Dr. Samuel Kisiedu, Professor of Biology, but also ordained licensed minister in Hampton, Virginia. God bless you.